I think of comfort when I think of Hospice of Lansing. I think of compassion when I think of Hospice of Lansing. I think of friendship when I think of Hospice of Lansing, for sure. And truly because of who I've had a chance to sit with and meet and volunteer with.
I have to say that our nurse and the nurse's aides were just absolutely fantastic, helping us get together with putting things in perspective and teaching us how to deal with the necessities that Ro would have.
Nobody wants their family member to die. I don't think anybody wants to die. Nobody wants to go through this. But we are all going to die, and we're going to lose people who are important to us. And so it's great to do it under the best circumstances possible.
My name is Chatham Taylor, and I am on the board of Hospice of Lansing. Before I was on the board, I actually volunteered here at Hospice of Lansing. I'd say about maybe 5 years ago, and it was a phenomenal experience. There was a special patient that I worked with. His name was Joe. And Joe was absolutely just admirable for who he was. Every time I was leaving work, I got excited, like I get to go see Joe, and we just connected. I would read to him and sometimes just come and just sit next to him. He didn't feel like talking, and that was okay. Sometimes I didn't feel like talking, and so we just being in each other's presence, I think, made a difference. I told him about an opportunity that I had coming up, and that I wasn't sure if I wanted to go for it. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, if I could do it. I was second guessing myself. I was just at a different place. And he looked at me and he told me, "You can do anything, go for it." Why not? He actually said, "Why not? Who cares?" And when he said that, I'm like, you know what? Who cares? Why not go for it? And I applied, and I ended up getting the job. And I was excited about it to come let him know that next Friday I got the job. And I mean, he was probably more excited than I was, but it was the simple fact that I had a chance to have a friend, because that's who Joe was for me, a friend believe in me. And till this day, a lot of what I do is probably just to show him that I'm doing it well.
Hi, my name is Dick Benkert, and my wife, Rosemarie, was with the Hospice of Lansing back about 5 years ago. She grew up in Allendale. Ro and I were actually married for 41 years, and we had 2 wonderful kids. And Ro really was the kind of person that she was most happy when she was around the kids, both her kids and grandkids. About 6 months before she was actually diagnosed, she went through several different kinds of tests and that to try to figure out what was wrong. And then finally they did a CAT scan on her, and she was diagnosed with adrenal cancer. It's a very rare form of cancer. In fact, there's only like about 5 cases a year in the United States. It was something that it really was a shock to all of us, because she was so vibrant until the very end. And she went into hospice care, and the decision was made that we would do that at the home. Donna was our main nurse to begin with, and she spent quite a bit of time with me right at the beginning and showed me how to do a few things, and she says, you know, you're gonna just have to do it in order for you to get used to it. I think that for the most part, she made it about as easy as it could be. There were certain things that just, no matter what, no matter what happens, you can't be prepared for everything. You just did it. After Ro passed away, I had my granddaughter. Ashley said to me, she said, "Papa, there's somebody over in our front yard." And I looked over there, and it was a lady. And so I started walking over there, and Ashley came with me, and it was Donna. And this was at least 9 months after Ro passed. She wanted to see how I was doing. She did that on her own, and I was just so impressed with that she took the time just to see how I was doing. And I think that speaks a lot for the staff that are with the Hospice of Lansing, because I think they all are like that. They all care.
My name is Kathy Swedlow, and my mother is Patricia Swedlow, and she was a patient at Stoneleigh. My mom was a nurse, and she was very practical, and she was very strong, and she knew her own mind very much. And even though she was retired from nursing, that was the person she was until the day she died. So my mother had lung cancer. She was a longtime smoker. She had some major surgery in Pennsylvania and was hospitalized for a while after that. She took each piece of news just very stoically, and she took it like a nurse, and she wanted to know what her options were, and she tried her options, and then at a certain point, you know, it wasn't helping, and so she decided not to continue and to take her next step towards hospice. She did well in her own home, living by herself for about a year. And then it became clear that she couldn't live by herself anymore. And so she moved to Michigan. She lived with me for about 5 months in my house. And then there came a time when I think it was too much, just being inside a house. I think she needed more care. And so she came to Stoneleigh and to the residence here. I think in retrospect, it probably would have been better maybe for her to come here sooner, because she's a very independent person, and so she came to live with her daughter. And you try and respect somebody's independence, but you are living with somebody else. And here she could have her own space and her own room and have, it sounds strange, but have some independence in a way that she couldn't have in my house. So my dad died 30 years ago, and he died in hospice care, but it was a very different time with hospice. I was a little concerned that it would be like that, and it was a very different experience here. You know, it just was whatever felt right for us and whatever worked for us at the time was the right thing to do. We were able to give my mother the best possible death we could. She'd be so angry that she's dead, but she would be so happy that we were with her, my brother, my sister, and I, and her grandkids.